Welcome back in, everybody, to a Monday edition of Birds 365. Good start to the week here. Just joined by Jeff Kerr. We appreciate him. Coming up next is Chris Franklin. But right now, we're going to talk about Nakobe Dean, third-round pick of the 2022 draft, Johnny Mac, a couple years ago. I believe it was the 22 draft. I'd have to double-check that. I will do that for you in a second. But, John, he's emerging. The last 7 days for Nakobe have been his best 7 days as an Eagle. You just heard Jeff Kerr. I think Jeff Kerr said it. That's his best practice ever. What have you seen so
that
far?
was I don't think Zach Berman said that. You know, it's funny
right. You said that
for
to me
people
yesterday.
For people that don't believe me. I mean, I was just checking my Twitter feed in the break. Jimmy Kempsky's description: Nakobe Dean and the defense dominates. Brandon Lee Gouton, our buddy, on the show, same type of when I talked about Vic saying it becomes obvious, it's obvious to everyone who was watching this. He has been unbelievable for the last over the weekend. It was taken to another level. But really for the past 7 to 10 days, I would say he has created distance between himself and a linebacker room that I thought was basically interchangeable. And I've said it from the start. I wasn't concerned about the Eagles having backup linebackers. I think they got a bunch of good backup linebackers. I'm not sure if they have starters. Well, now I'm sure they have one starter, and that's Nakobe Dean.
How's he look compared to like Devin White? You know, he's the only other guy really on the roster with real pedigree, I would say. I know Devin White's had an up and down career, and he hasn't quite lived up to the expectation, but he's the one other guy there that, does have the pedigree. Like Zach Bond's never played linebacker, off-ball linebacker.
Well, yes, he has. He has played off-ball. But he played mainly he didn't play that much, but he played a little bit more.
He was not the starting off-ball linebacker though on a team.
But he's taken off-ball linebacker side, and obviously Trotter is a rookie, and Van Sumer's a second-year player. But no, I mean Devin's in that category. I said everybody's the same. Everybody's pretty much the same, and you're not going to see that much difference, other than Devin's more athletically gifted than everybody else. And if he guesses right, maybe it splashes a little bit more in people's minds. But then again, he's not going to have the consistency of the instinctive player like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. So it's kind of a give and take. Zach Bond's physical. So they might have different traits, but the end game is the same. They're not bad, but you question whether they're going to be good linebackers as starters over a full season. Like the New York Jets have good linebackers. And they're going to be good at the position. San Francisco has good linebackers. And they're going to be good. Coming into this season, I didn't know if the Eagles were going to have any starting level linebackers. And Nakobe Dean looks like, and again, it's just practice. We have to see it in games. He's got to prove it. But I find it ironic that he was what I mentioned earlier. He was the foundational plan of Howie Roseman in the organization coming into the last season at this particular position that they admittedly devalue compared to other positions. But he was the guy. And he's now playing like the guy for the first time. He never played like this, even in practice in previous years. And now he's playing like what everybody thought he was coming out of Georgia, or at least my old buddy Jody Mack. He's playing like that guy. And now people are questioning whether, can he start over Devin White and Zach Bond? I'm going to go to my Chester Taylor. Fuck Devin White and Zach Bond.
I'm with you, John.
I don't give a shit.
What's been the biggest change, John, in the last week for Dean, that he's turned the corner?
He's probably got a chip on his shoulder, and maybe that was the plan. And if it is, I applaud Vic Fangio because it's working. Yesterday, he's breaking up passes to Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith, He had Will Shipley. Now, Will Shipley's a rookie, so okay. But Will Shipley is very shifty, very athletically gifted. And he's got him in open space. Typically, the running back's got a big advantage over any linebacker. And he's taking him down in space. He's got a tackle for loss or no gain at the bare minimum on Saquon. So tackle for loss. Blitzing, he's been phenomenal. Sack of Jalen Hurts. You had one of the knocks on Nakobe has always been his size, and he's been the most physical Eagles defender. He's lighting people up. I don't know if that's sustainable at his size.
Yeah, right. But at least he's showing he has it. I mean,
but he's been the most physical. There's nothing not to like about what he's putting on film. And my hope is that Vic is, lighting that fire under him, and it's working. And because I got somebody on X, Twitter saying, though I hope Dean starts, Fangio is a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator, so I'll trust his decision. If he doesn't start, don't trust his decision. Vic's not perfect. Vic's a human being. And Les Bone, when we had him on the show, was talking about Jim Johnson, who is, everybody's reverential to in this town and should be. But he was talking about the story of when he wanted to start. Who was it? It wasn't Mark Semino. Who was it?
It was Mark Semino.
Mark Semino. Mark Semino over Jeremiah Trotter Sr. Guess what? He was wrong. And if Nakobe Dean is not out there September 6th as the 3-down linebacker of the Philadelphia Eagles, Vic Fangio was wrong. And I'll say it on the record, and I'll keep saying it until he's out there. Now, it's always a fluid situation. If Nakobe all of a sudden starts playing poorly, I'll tell you. But if you don't believe me, look at Zach, look at Jimmy, look at PLG. It's a consensus. And it's a consensus because it's obvious.
Some people still not excited for Nakobe, John, but we do have a super chat about Nakobe Dean that I want to go to. Trucker Beans. What's up, Trucker? Thanks for being here, brother. Appreciate the super chat, and I like that picture of you in the Eagles shirt. That's a fly picture. I like it, man. He says, John, can Dean as an undersized linebacker then into a London Fletcher or D'Amico Ryans, or is that a stretch?
Yeah, I mean, London Fletcher's a good comp, actually. I like that comp. He's a very good player, undersized. Yeah, I mean, that to me would be the hope to turn into that kind of player. And part of it is durability. Look, he got hurt twice last year. And 2 different foot injuries, Lisfranc surgery. That's a very difficult injury to come back, long rehab. And he started slowly because he wasn't completely healthy. Now he's 100%, started gaining confidence, feeling himself. Yeah, I mean, that's what the Eagles wanted. That's what they envisioned. And now there's at least some hope that he's turning into it. But boy, I think, people lean on that pedigree with Devin White to a ludicrous degree. I don't know. I mean, if it were a race, Devin's going to win. If it were a superstars competition for old people like me, Devin's going to win. If it's the decathlon in the Olympics, Devin's probably going to win. If it's football, Nakobe's going to win because he's more instinctive. And that, to me, is where linebacking starts.
I agree.
The best linebackers are instinctive, and he's instinctive.
John, what about something like this where we have people who aren't a fan of Nakobe Dean? Josh Brooks, appreciate you being here, Josh. Pushes back. He doesn't like Nakobe Dean. He says there's nothing not to like. How about man coverage? How about block shedding? I don't know how much those things matter.
Well, Nakobe's not great in coverage. I'm not trying to say he's getting better.
Yeah, but nobody is on the team is the point.
Yeah, nobody on this team is good in coverage at linebacker. B, as I ask everybody, Josh, and you can repeat, who are your favorite coverage linebackers in the NFL? Because there's about 5 of them who do it well. The whole, and there's plenty of guys who are average, and that's what you're sort of hoping for. But the whole goal of modern offenses is to get linebackers in space against playmakers. Everybody, even Fred Warner, who's the best. The vast majority, luckily they don't have to play each other, obviously, except in practice. But if Christian McCaffrey were on a different team, they'd be trying to get Christian McCaffrey in space against Fred Warner. And they'd say, who gives a shit? I mean, he's the best, but he still can't deal with them.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just a mismatch, no matter who's there or how good they are.
Yeah. So that's number one, which I think people don't pay attention to the rest of the league. There aren't a lot of great coverage linebackers. I'm not trying to sit here and say Nakobe Dean is good in man-to-man coverage, because he's not. He's getting better. The goal is to get to a acceptable level. But the Eagles don't have any good coverage linebackers.
Yeah,
and Devin White's coverage numbers in Tampa Bay, from a film perspective, from a PFF perspective, were atrocious. Atrocious.
A couple of the super chats I want to get to, John. People like the Nakobe Dean talk, hence why we're giving him a full segment. Anthony Perry checks in. Anthony, good morning, brother. Thank you for being here. One of our best supporters. I see you in the chat all the time, Anthony. Thanks for being in here. Anthony says, is Fangio a mastermind? Reverse psychology on Dean for motivation.
I hope I said that. I said if that's what he was doing, it has worked to perfection. And I hope that's what he's doing.
Yeah,
I hope.
I mean, look, it is working. He's looked better than the last 7 days than he has so far in his tenure with the Eagles. Is that fair to say?
Well, by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, so
leaps and bounds.
That's great progress for Nakobe Dean. And then one more super chat before we get to our man, Chris Franklin. Chris, I see you in the green room, man. Appreciate your patience.
We're going to get some birds. Are we going to get some birds?
Chris has given us a love, so we're going to get some birds. Good stuff. Chris Franklin coming up soon. M. Martin checks in, John. $5. Thank you, M. Martin. He says, hopefully Dean stays healthy and is consistent with his recent upturn. Is Dean almost certain to have the green dot over white in Brazil? John, what do you think?
That is not certain, and I would give it to him. But again, there's been no indication that Vic is deterring off Devin White as the green dots. Nakobe does it when it's not Devin, but that's generally with the second team. I don't know. Nakobe's been playing more in dime packages now. He's been playing more. I mentioned this earlier in the show. He was in the red zone. He's in the red zone package more. So in theory, to me, he would be on the field more if it trends that way, if they're both starters. And I would just give the green dot. In this defense, the actual Mike and Will are interchangeable from a responsibility standpoint. So I would keep it on the guy who's playing more. And earlier, that looked like it was going to be Devin White. I'm not sure it should be. In fact, I'm actually very sure it shouldn't be. But I don't know where Vic is with that. You're muted, Xander, I believe.
Anthony Perry checks back in and says, I'm getting the I didn't write it t-shirt immediately.
Oh, man, come on. Leave that go. Get the stop it t-shirt.
Yeah, get the stop it. John has put the kibosh on the production of the I didn't write it, everybody. He has the man upstairs has nixed the I didn't write it. But Anthony, appreciate the super chat. And then Prince puts 5 linebackers: Roquan, Matt Milano, Demario Davis, Levante David, and Bobby Okereke. Not sure why he's listing 5 out, but
well, Fred should be number 1. Demario Davis, one of my favorite players in the NFL. I say it all the time. He's also 35 now.
He's old.
So, but he's unbelievable player. Roquan Smith, in the conversation for being the second best linebacker in the NFL, I would say, behind Fred Warner. Matt Milano's hurt again. Lavonte David was the guy who protected Devin White for all those years. He was the best linebacker on Tampa Bay, still is. And Bobby Okereke is a very underrated player. Those are all solid.
Yeah, these are. I think Prince is talking about coverage linebackers here, but
yeah,
I still think
those are all solid choices as far as being the best. And every single one of them, you want to get them in space against playmakers, which is kind of the point.
Yeah, right. It's always a mismatch.
It's a mismatch, no matter, even with the best. So what you're trying to do is get to that level,
close the gap as much as you can. Exactly. Good stuff there. We're going to take only a 15-second timeout because I want to get to Chris Franklin. We're running late. We went long on our Dean segment. Before I do that, are you guys looking for a new sports book this football season? BetUS is the answer, and JAKIB Sports is proud to announce our new partnership for the upcoming football season. Right now, everybody, go to betus.com.pa. The link is in the description. Receive a 125% sign-up bonus, up to $2,000 on your first 3 deposits. If it's good for former Birds quarterback Michael Vick, it's definitely good for JAKIB Sports. Back in 15 seconds, everybody, after this note from our sponsor, BetUS.
Michael Vick at betus.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.